Your dog has been asleep for 20 minutes. You're across the room, not making a sound, and then it starts. The paws begin to twitch, the breathing changes, a soft sound comes out, somewhere between a whimper and a bark, like it's trying to say something it can't quite reach, and you've probably thought the same thing everyone thinks. It's dreaming about chasing something, a squirrel, maybe, a ball. Something simple, but there's a question underneath that one that most people never ask. What if it's not chasing something? What if it's dreaming about someone? What if, right now, while it sleeps 3 feet away from you, it's dreaming about you? And if that's true, what does that actually mean? Let's start with what we know. Sleep isn't rest. Not really. For most complex animals, sleep is when the brain does its most important work. During waking hours, your brain collects. It takes in everything. Sights, sounds, emotions, interactions, and holds it in a kind of temporary storage. Sleep is when it decides what to keep. Memories get moved from short-term holding into long-term storage through a process called memory consolidation, and the stage of sleep where most of this happens is REM, rapid eye movement, the stage where your eyes move behind your closed lids like you're watching something happen, the stage where, if you're woken up, you'll almost always report that you were dreaming. For a long time, scientists assumed REM sleep was a human thing, or at most, a primate thing. Then they started looking more carefully and they found it almost everywhere. Birds have REM sleep. Reptiles show signs of it. Even some fish appear to cycle through sleep states that resemble it. Every mammal that has been studied in enough detail shows the same signature brain activity during sleep that humans show when they dream. The architecture is not ours. It is ancient. It was running in animal brains long before there were humans to study it. But knowing that animals have REM sleep is different from knowing what happens inside it. That question got a lot harder to dismiss in 2001, when a team of researchers at MIT did something that genuinely changed how scientists think about animal dreams. They were studying rats navigating mazes. During the day, they mapped the exact pattern of neuron firing in each rat's hippocampus as it ran specific routes. The hippocampus is the brain's memory and navigation center. Different neurons fire for different locations, like a map written in electricity. Then, at night, they watched what happened in those same brains while the rats slept. The neurons fired again, the same sequences, the same patterns, in the same order. The rats were replaying the maze in their sleep with enough precision that the researchers could identify which part of the route the rat was re-experiencing at any given moment. They weren't just sleeping, they were somewhere specific, somewhere they had already been. That's not metaphor, that's not interpretation, that is a brain, during sleep, reconstructing a lived experience in real time. Dogs are the animal most people actually want to know about, and the research is more direct than most people realize. Matthew Walker, a neuroscientist at UC Berkeley and one of the world's leading sleep researchers, has said that dogs almost certainly dream and that what they dream about is likely drawn from their daily experiences. Their REM sleep looks structurally identical to human REM sleep. During that stage, the brainstem sends out a signal that paralyzes the major muscle groups, the same mechanism that stops you from physically acting out your dreams. But the suppression isn't perfect. Small movements get through, twitching paws, flickering eyelids, sounds that don't quite become barks. The bigger the dog, the more pronounced the movement tends to be. Researchers believe smaller dogs dream more frequently but with shorter cycles, while larger dogs dream less often but for longer stretches at a time. Puppies and older dogs dream more than adult dogs in their prime. The pattern mirrors almost exactly what we see in human sleep across different life stages. Here's where it gets complicated. We can watch the brain. We can map the neurons. We can measure the eye movement and the twitching paws and the small sounds. What we cannot do is open the dream and look inside it. The MIT study told us that rats replay experiences during sleep. It did not tell us what those replays feel like from the inside. It did not tell us whether there is an inside at all, whether something is watching the replay, experiencing it, or whether it's just the brain running maintenance with no one present to witness it. That question, whether there is something it is like to be a dreaming dog, is the same wall every branch of animal consciousness research eventually hits. The behavior is measurable, the experience is not. But here is what memory consolidation research does tell us, and this part matters. The brain does not replay everything equally. It prioritizes. Emotionally significant experiences get tagged differently during encoding. Events involving fear, relief, novelty, or strong social connection are flagged as high priority for consolidation. They are the ones most likely to be replayed during sleep. They are the ones most likely to make it into long-term memory, which means that if a dog dreams about its day, it is not dreaming about the hour it spent alone on the couch. It is dreaming about the moments that registered as significant: the walk, the game, the reunion at the door, the person who came home. There's a pattern that animal behaviorists have noted but rarely discuss in these terms. Dogs that are separated from their primary person for an extended period and then reunited show a specific cluster of behaviors in the days following that reunion. Increased REM movement during sleep, more frequent sleep sounds, greater restlessness during the transition between sleep stages. The pattern looks, from the outside, like a brain working harder than usual to process something emotionally significant, like a brain consolidating something it doesn't want to lose. You are not nothing to your dog. You are, by every measure of what matters to memory, one of the most significant inputs its brain receives. You are the source of food. Yes, but long-term attachment research consistently shows that dogs do not bond to people primarily because of food. Wolves raised by humans in identical feeding conditions do not form the same attachment that dogs do. The bond is social. It is relational. It is, by the brain's own accounting, emotionally significant, which means that when the memory system is deciding what to consolidate, what to replay, what to hold on to, you are exactly the kind of input it flags. Whether that replay has content, whether it looks like anything, whether there is a version of you moving through your dog's sleeping mind right now, that we cannot confirm, but consider what we can. The brain keeps what matters. Across every species studied, sleep is how the brain decides that something was worth remembering, and by every biological measure of what gets remembered, you qualify. There's a researcher named Stanley Coren, a neuropsychologist who has spent decades studying canine intelligence and behavior, who put it carefully in one of his papers. He didn't claim dogs dream about their owners. He said the evidence strongly suggests that dogs, during sleep, process the most emotionally relevant experiences of their recent waking life. Then he said this: for most dogs, the most emotionally relevant experiences of their waking life involve the people they live with. He left the implication unfinished. He didn't need to complete it. So here is what the science actually allows us to say. Animals dream. The content of those dreams appears to be drawn from lived experience. The experiences most likely to be replayed are the ones that registered as emotionally significant. And for a dog, you are, by almost every neurological and behavioral measure available, significant. What you cannot know is whether there is a version of you in there that looks like you, whether your dog knows, inside the dream, that it is you, whether the experience of dreaming about someone, if it exists at all, resembles anything you would recognize. But the alternative is this: that every night, while it sleeps beside you or at the foot of your bed or across the room, its brain is quietly sorting through everything that happened and deciding what was worth keeping, and by every rule that process follows, you make the cut. Maybe that's enough. Maybe the question of whether it looks like you inside the dream matters less than the fact that you're in there at all. That's somewhere in the biology of sleep, in the part of the brain that decides what's worth holding on to, you were kept.